Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Fools
Seldom
Differ.
podcast.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Lily.
Today we're speaking about social media.
We sure are.
We're speaking about the advantages of social media,
The disadvantages of social media,
the evolution of social media,
and marketing in social media.
because social media is such a broad topic and it's such a massive part in our lives. And so we thought, what a good topic to make our first real episode about, because we did the pilot episode, which was, letting you know who we are. But this time we actually have a topic to speak about, which is good.
We've also upgraded our mics since then, so
Mhm.
hopefully we sound a bit nicer. And there's some dogs going off. Sorry. As you know, we live on a farm, so you'll have to excuse it.
You'll pick up all kinds of things. Hopefully not too many things. Hopefully you can't hear the cows out in the fields bellowing away. But on occasion you will hear all kinds of interesting farm noises, and that's just a part of the aesthetic of this particular podcast. So let's begin with the advantages of social media.
I think one of the biggest advantages that we all know is the fact that you can contact and, become a community with lots of different people around the world, and all of your friends and family that might not live close to you. You can get in contact with them within a second. Whereas, before social media was a thing, you'd have to write a letter or, wait for a phone call, things like that. But now it's just almost an instant response, which
Yeah,
is
isn't
so
it?
good.
It is. And you can, like say family and friends, you can share massive life events with them with the push of a button. And you can cover all bases rather than calling up Margarine, calling up Dory, calling up Mary, calling up Helen, and telling the whole family. Great name choices, I know, but calling up the whole family and telling everyone individually. You can now just put it out there. Hey, like for instance with us, hey, we got engaged.
Yeah, we posted a few photos and told them what happened, and everyone saw it literally within half an hour. There was just so many people that, it would have taken us almost days to get in contact with all of those people that saw it. So
And that's what used to happen.
exactly.
That's what our parents and grandparents and so on and listeners right now have had to do.
It's a bit wild, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's an advantage of
It
social
is.
media, is that connectivity, and sense of community too, because everyone's coming around you in one place online.
And with that too, I think it's great for those that can't get out of their home as well. Like they're very isolated and unable to see their friends and things like that. Maybe it's because, I don't know, for instance, with COVID, especially, everyone was still able to get in touch with each other and still able to talk to each other from anywhere when, you were in lockdown and not able to go anywhere. Whereas now, I don't know, it's
Well, look,
much of a muchness.
say you're a socially anxious person, or say you are a physically unwell person, for example. Going out and about and seeing people isn't something which is really an option for you, whereas social media, you've got that bit of protection there, a barrier, if you're a socially anxious person. And if you are a physically unwell person and you can't make it to events, at least you can still feel as if you're a part of something thanks to social media,
It's a great tool.
So it's good for combating loneliness.
Yeah. And even meeting new people, like we've met a lot of people online that we never would have met before. Even just asking other people for advice that we've never even spoken to,
On community boards.
Yeah.
They're really handy places. They're interesting for the drama.
Yes, lots of juicy gossip.
But also there's like a good sense of community there.
Yeah. Even just, people post stuff like, oh, there's been a car crash on the highway. Make sure you avoid it for a little while. That's great because, others you're stuck there for hours and you
20
don't
years
know.
ago, you just drive along and then you
And
find out the hard way.
Yeah. Whereas now it's just within a few minutes you see it and you're like, oh, cool. I'm going to delay my trip for 20 minutes thanks to someone's random post on a community board.
And that kind of goes into the next thing we wanted to speak about as an advantage, which is learning new things, because you're learning of the car accident, but also like skills that you can learn simply from watching somebody else's videos and content. You can learn a lot. I've learned a lot around agriculture for me. Like that's something I have an interest in. But also just learning about how other people are as well and what they do in their life and seeing how maybe you can apply that to your own if you think it's going to work for you. What do
Mm.
you reckon?
Yeah, well, I mean, the same with me. I've learned how to make sourdough. Right now I'm trying to make a cut flower garden and I'm doing veggies and flowers, but I have learnt how to start seeds from it, like how to make sure that they're going to grow properly, what to grow when, all thanks to other people's posts. It's
Broadening your
Yeah.
horizons. And I guess you as an individual are choosing to,
Yeah.
but social media gives you the ability to just go, oh,
Mm.
I want to look up, or not, you're not even doing this anymore. Barely anybody's typing things. They're usually on their phone. I want to look up
Yeah. Hey Siri, do this for me.
this. Here I am. Me, I'm like this on a phone. I'm going, what's my phone?
Glasses down. Like
Whereas
an old
Lily's
man.
there going,
Speed texter.
yeah. But it's awesome for that. And so yeah, just like learning new things, applying them to your life. And sometimes you learn things too which you wish you hadn't learned.
Whoopsies.
You do learn things you wish you hadn't learned. I certainly see things on social media I wish I hadn't learned. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Another massive advantage of social media is actually the ability to create content that helps or enlightens other people, which is something which I have been offered the privilege and opportunity to do,
Mm.
to actually put videos out there which, away from education, which we've been speaking about, learning new things, but just like helping people and enlightening them, like through mental health advocacy.
Yeah.
Letting people know that really it's a courageous thing to get out there and tackle those mental illnesses head on, to speak to your friends, to seek out, professional help, things like that. It's been a great advantage of social media. That's a message that I could never spread if I hadn't had the audience.
Yeah, even just people, like, you get comments all the time being like, thank you so much, I really love that video. And even you just responding to them brightens their day as well.
The most touching message I ever received, I've received a few that have been thank you for helping me be pointed in the right direction and go and see a GP. But I actually got a message from a person who's since passed who had terminal cancer. And they thanked me for being a companion through their, struggle. And I was saying, it's terminal now. I'm going to die. But thank you for being a distraction at times. Thank you for being insightful and funny and the rest. And that is deep, thanks to social media.
Yeah.
I didn't know this person from a bar of soap otherwise.
Aside from that, there's also a lot of disadvantages too.
Yes, now we've had the nice segment. Now we're going to the disadvantages of social media.
Well, yeah, just like you said, I mean, you've had people that have been really positive with you and given you good responses, whereas there's the other side where people can be nasty, bullying, creating fake accounts.
Do you want to touch on that? Because I know that's something which you've dealt with. I've had fake accounts, but not in the way which you had it.
Yeah, in school actually, it just appeared. I was never really like a big social media person or anything. I obviously had stuff for my modeling on there, but I had an account made of me that was basically impersonating me, posting photos of me and my friends, editing those photos to look like I had a big tummy or like my bum was smaller, things like that, and saying really nasty things in the comments, acting as if it was me. So it happens to everyone though, all the time, and it's you never really find out who it is, and it's not easy to find out who it is either. It's a bit crap, really.
You were cyberbullied.
I was, yeah. And I'm pretty sure I was 15, 16 at the time. Like, that is hard. And to see that and your friends being like, oh, is this you? It makes you feel like crap. It really does. It was terrible. I felt awful. And I'm sure a lot of people go through it all the time. cyberbullying is something that happens, and it can be from anyone. Someone that you don't even know can do it, especially if you have a big following. There's a lot of people that tend to do it just to have a bit of fun for themselves, you know? So,
Anonymity has definitely been emboldened by certain platforms, especially TikTok, I believe. That's where I've seen most anonymity, where people can have an account with any name, a photo of anything, and say whatever they like without consequence, basically. And it's just total cyberbullying. It's
is.
horrible stuff. It's threats rather, threatening you, and just being generally awful. This happened to, when you spoke about what you just spoke about, it made me think of Dolly Everett,
Yeah.
who was a 14-year-old girl who took her own life because at school she was cyberbullied. And her parents now have Dolly's Dream,
Yeah.
which is a really awesome organisation, which has been created to essentially combat bullying, cyberbullying, and bring awareness around it too, which is an awesome thing that those parents have done. But all because of, that's the disadvantage of social media being the cyberbullying, is just bullying on a scale which a lot of people who are now a bit older never had to deal with in school because they didn't have social media. They knew who their bully was.
Yeah, exactly. And something could be done about it a lot easier because, at school, the principal would take you in with your parents and
well, the culture was different back in the day. I'm talking the 80s, the 70s, 60s. The culture was different with when it came to dealing with these things too. It wasn't so, for lack of a better word, precious. It was a very different approach back then. But yeah, another disadvantage of social media, of course, is that it is a massive distraction from reality, a huge distraction from the real world. You're suddenly on your phone and you'll be watching video after video after video on your feed, your algorithm, your FYP.
Just doom scrolling.
An hour will go by and you go, oh,
you don't even realize.
You've lost so much time and so much time to be a productive human being. And I think it comes back to mental illness.
Yeah. You get stuck in like a rut and you just, when you're in sort of a bit of a, I guess, depressive episode, it's just, you're trying to find a bit of joy from it and you doom scroll. And then you're like, wow, that just took up an hour of my day. And then you kind of just go, oh, well, it's the rest of the day. It's gone. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, like it really consumes us, TikTok, and that sort of distraction from reality is hard, especially like when you think of people who are gamers, they tend to distract themselves with the games that they play. And yes, they might be playing with friends online and meeting new people and things, but they're also not aware of anything that goes on around them because they're so focused on this screen and this game that they're playing rather than what's happening around them. Like it could be hours go by and you don't even realize.
Like the pokies.
Yeah. It's just another addiction.
Gaming, social media are all very much the same in that they've been designed to be addictive and therefore detrimental to your mental health.
Yeah.
I believe, and it's also detrimental to your mental health if you are an influencer who relies on all of this entire world to get by, because you are constantly seeking validation from people who you do not know. And without that validation and that relevance, you lose everything. You lose everything. And that's really dangerous. But to that, the seeking validation, it's not just big influencers and all that. It's you and me, or Joe Blow, who... I didn't get very many likes on that post.
Yeah.
People must hate me now. I mustn't be this, that, the other. I mustn't be too good. This other person got heaps of likes on theirs. Why can't I?
And it starts early on too, because if kids are using social media and that's their mindset, it just continues, the cycle continues and just, there's so many things too that kids can access that they shouldn't or that they never would have before social media, you know? Adult things, just,
I'm all in
yeah.
favor of monitoring a child's phone if they've
Mm,
got one or their
yeah.
device because honestly, I mean, the internet has created this problem, but even through social media, they can view pornographic stuff.
Yeah.
Things which I don't think 11-year-old kids should be seeing.
Mm,
Sorry, it's good to encourage children and kids and whatever else, preteens and teenagers to learn about new things and all that, but at a certain age. I don't
yeah.
think that 11, 12, 13 even should be seeing these, young women and young men who are dressed or undressed in certain ways is wrong and
Mm,
speaking in certain ways too.
mm,
It's just changing our culture
yeah.
to a mass extent and also exploitation. Being able to be messaged through social media.
Yeah. Just like, obviously kidnapping happens a lot and child exploitation, things like that happen a lot. And it's so much easier now for, I don't know, say a 50-year-old male to message a kid hiding behind a persona as if they're another child and saying, "Oh, let's meet at the park, let's hang out." And then the kid comes and, it ends up being that 50-year-old male who takes them away and the parents might not have even known that they were going to the park. So they're gone and who knows if they're going to be found.
Catfished by an adult
Mm,
and tricked into either being kidnapped or sending explicit content, images,
yeah.
videos to an
Just
adult.
out there too.
They can't consent.
No.
Yet these people find a way around that through social media in a way which was never possible before all of that.
Yeah.
You couldn't just ring up someone's home and pretend to be a kid when you had an adult's voice.
Yeah.
Back in the
Unless
80s
you're a
and
really
so on.
good impersonator.
Unless you've got a great little kid's voice. But even then you can pick it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just really horrible that is now a mainstream thing.
Mm,
That you read about these things and you watch videos about how parents discovered that their child was being preyed upon usually through social media.
mm.
Mm.
Social media has just evolved a lot in many different ways. Even just from, back in the day you had YouTube that was 20-minute long videos, whereas now it's like TikTok that they started with the 15 to 60-second long videos. But it just continues to change no matter what.
Mm. Yeah, YouTube was like the early 2000s and onwards, and you could watch videos that were, well, I don't know if they ever had a limit on their videos and how long they could be, but
Yeah.
these days the format on YouTube is still quite long, but really the next things to really bring along video were apps like Vine.
Yeah, Vine.
Vine was really ding ding, wasn't it? They were
Yeah.
pretty short videos, weren't they? You'd be
Oh
going,
no,
ding,
you
ding,
made me
ding.
drop my croissant.
Yeah, no,
Like
I don't get that
You
reference.
haven't seen it? Oh my gosh.
I never watched Vine.
Oh dear.
You
We're in
know,
a different era.
I was late to TikTok too. I didn't get on
Yeah,
TikTok
true.
till after all the lockdowns.
I'm gonna have to take you through some Vines after this.
Oh, gee whiz. But that's very different kind of format.
Yeah.
to
It was
so-
very short. I'm pretty sure it was only
Was it 6 seconds?
something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something tiny.
Yeah, which is probably why it didn't survive because it got
Yeah.
stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
But, back in the day, for a while, that longer format was more,
The way to go.
easy.
The only way to really do anything, because YouTube was the only real thing. Or
But
Facebook.
then I guess Instagram and TikTok really encouraged reels and posts and whatever else, and they are much generally speaking a shorter format kind of video or content in that you're watching a video that usually max a minute to a minute and a half, really. Usually. Sometimes they're longer than that, but rarely.
I think it's good though that TikTok has gone from only really having that minute long to then the 3, then the 5, then the 10. So you can sort of, depending on your audience, pick what you make and how long it is. Whereas, it's good. I think there's so much out there now though that people's For You pages are just full of everything. But our FYP pages are so different. Like yours are a lot more focused on, I guess, agriculture and that kind of thing, whereas mine is not.
Yeah, so I found this when I went to the TikTok Awards. Something, oh God, that was quite an interesting experience for me. But when I went there was so many creators, which they're called creators. I had no idea who these people were. I met so many people. I didn't have a clue who these people were. Yet they had followings from, say, 20,000 all the way up to 2 million. I didn't know who they were, but that's because they've never showed up on my algorithm, my feed, my For You page. They've never shown up. And that's not to say that they're not popular and their content isn't good, but my interests obviously don't, align with the content which they put out. And so I can tell you from experience, back when I first started on social media, the algorithm wasn't as developed. And so my content had a broader reach. It went to people who didn't necessarily give one bugger about agriculture.
Yeah, farming.
Whereas now it's a much more niche market because there are so many niches to be, consuming online.
TikTok obviously does sometimes post random stuff that doesn't align to your feed, but yeah, it was definitely that you got a lot more difference. And I think it's good that they've got the friends page versus the For You page, but I still find that the For You page is mostly the people that you follow, whereas it used to be just a mixture of everything, if that makes sense. Yeah.
But it's remarkable between us. I mean, Lily's For You page, her algorithm, her feed, shows you a lot of like day in the life stuff. And it shows you, I guess, gym stuff and potentially gardening stuff and all that kind of, and then I guess viral videos. Everyone sees those, the viral videos with millions of likes. And I never get any of that.
Yeah. It's all dependent to what you search to.
Thank God. Because I'd be going, what is wrong with my phone? Why am I getting all these videos?
It's just like that. Remember a month or two back how my whole FYP was like in Brazilian?
Yeah, that was weird.
For like weeks, I had to just search like all different topics to try and get rid of it. It took forever.
You must have liked one or two Brazilian videos or something.
And then it was just the whole FYP was just in Brazilian. I was like, this sucks.
There's also the option now to press not interested. Yeah. And interested. Have you seen that?
Yeah, but doesn't it only come up sometimes?
On some videos.
Yeah. Like when you slide, it comes up to the next thing and it says, did you like this? Did you not? Yeah.
Or no, it'd be underneath the video too, I've seen. That might be Instagram. And you can either, no, it's TikTok. I don't know what it is anymore. It's all becomes one, doesn't it? But I think it's just beneath the video and you can either press not interested or interested, which is great. And because if you're not interested in it, I don't want to keep watching things like this if I'm not. Or if it's really cool, I'm like, yeah, I want to see more of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The metaverse, virtual reality. Something which I know very little about. I'm fully prepared to have a chip in my brain. No, I don't. I feel like that's what you see.
The direction it's going.
Google Glasses.
Yeah.
Google Glasses, but you always hear about microchips going to be implanted in you.
Yeah. Well, have you seen Chip Girl on TikTok? See, different FYPs. She
ding,
has
ding,
a chip
bong.
in her hand, and her whole house is controlled.
May I just say, I often have chips in my hand too.
Yeah.
But
she has one under her skin.
Oh.
And
how'd she get it in there?
Like they
I'm just
her house, like she can unlock her house with her hand and unlock her car with her hand, all that crazy stuff.
Is she an engineer?
I think her husband like has something to do with
her husband is Tony Stark.
Basically. But we use a slight form of virtual reality at the hospitals. They have this thing called a Smiley Scope, which is those virtual reality goggles that play a video so the kids wear them while we're trying to cannulate or anything to give them something else to look at and hear, because the sound is right near their ears and everything. So they don't hear anything that you're saying about the cannula, and it actually is like, okay, now let's take some deep breaths. What can you smell? Like it's really relaxing for them, and it's amazing. We had a kid the other day that didn't even wriggle at all.
That's awesome.
But then when we did their little finger prick, they screamed. But because they wore that, they didn't even move.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Mm.
And like we went on a holiday, which is very seldom. It's been a long time since we've gone on a holiday.
Yeah.
I say holiday, it was like 2 days.
Yeah.
We went to Hayman Island.
We went to a weekend away.
Yeah, up in kind of centrally north kind of Queensland, the Airlie Beach kind of area. And the golf there, remember that?
Yeah,
The
that's
golf
right. The
was an
indoor
indoor
golf.
golf thing with just the ball and a tee.
Yeah.
And the what do you call them? I don't really do golf.
The club.
The club. And you'd swing the ball into a big kind of projected screen thing.
Yeah. Like
and
a
it
sheet.
would pretend like it was all
Yeah.
virtual reality. It wasn't like real golf.
And it's like Apple's new thing that they've just come out literally in the last week or two, I think it is. Pretty sure it's the Vision Pros. So it's like those virtual reality goggles that you wear them and you can still see through them though.
You've made me think of those people who like you got the virtual reality goggles on and their things in their hands and they just full on run into a wall or they whack someone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's basically like you can text. It's like as if you're having your computer in your eyeballs is what they've done. It's like goggles.
Oh God.
And you can like minimize your screen and everything.
Not physically a computer in your
No.
eyeballs. Oh my God. But that's
No, but
fantastic.
that's where it might be if you get a chip in your brain.
Well, yeah. Doesn't that scare you a bit?
Yeah, of course it does.
What can they access through that? Your thoughts? Is that the way it's all going?
Probably.
The mind police? The thought police from isn't it you probably don't know about 1984 Orwellian novel?
No.
1984, it's like a dystopian future where everything, there's the thought police. You think outside the box, which is the way the world's going, really.
Yeah, probably.
The bloody amount of the political correctness gone mad is the way we're going.
Mm.
But I'm getting too political. You need to pull me in when I start getting like that.
Save it for the next podcast.
Save it for the podcast. The amount of times we've been speaking. Save it for the podcast. Stop talking. Save it for the podcast. Well, we'll move into the next thing, which is marketing in social media, which is just a phenomenon because I think it's where most marketing is going now because free-to-air television,
It's just
I don't know anyone who watches it religiously anyway. They might watch maths
Yeah.
or the news or
Or
you'll
the
be at the
tennis.
hospital or something in a waiting room.
Yeah. I mean, even then, I don't even think we have. Well, we do, but half the time it's just ads about stuff like we don't tolerate abuse or that sort of stuff on the screen. Half the time you get that and not even TV because people just have their phones now. Like we have chargers in our.
You mean in the hospital?
Yeah.
Yep.
We have chargers in the waiting room for people now because it's just normal. Like everyone just sits there on their phone if they have to wait a bit.
But you'll look up and you'll see a TV with like the morning show
Yeah,
on,
sometimes.
or the news
Yeah.
or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, but those are the more normal settings where you'll find a television that's on and watching free to air. Because
Not very
I
often.
assume most free to air television, no one much watches it. I think it is a dying thing. People our age just don't watch it. We just don't watch it.
No, and like even, I guess.
We stream.
Yeah. And all the money is put into the streaming service TV shows and everything now. Like Neighbours, that finished. That's what everyone used to watch if they were watching.
No,
free-to-air.
Neighbours has started again.
Oh, there you go.
Didn't you know
See,
that?
I didn't know that because I don't watch free-to-air TV.
I don't really either, but I knew that because I read
Yeah.
the news.
I also don't read the news though. You are my news source. You know that.
But with advertisement, of course, when you go onto say YouTube and you can't skip an ad, we're more inclined to watch that ad, aren't we?
Yeah, because you're just
You're
sitting there
going,
waiting.
well, the video starts in 5 seconds, so
Yeah,
I'll watch
may
this
as well watch
ad
it.
about KFC.
They're $5 Zinger boxes or whatever it is.
Whereas, free to air, you can just stop watching.
Mm.
Where you're more inclined to watch it on your phone.
Mm.
And also on TikTok now, I've noticed.
Skip ads sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah. And every time you open the app, there's always an ad at the top.
Mm.
Pretty much all the time.
Mm.
And then you occasionally get them when you scroll too.
If you
But even, sorry.
No, I was saying like when you start the app,
Mm.
that's when it comes
Yeah,
on.
it comes straight on.
The
And
first
even
video is an
sometimes
ad.
when you scroll, you occasionally get ads. But then also half of the people on your For You page are influencers or UGC
Doing ads,
creators
brand
doing
deals.
ads. Yeah, brand deals.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time you actually don't even realize because you're just like, oh, that's cool. They're using this, I don't know, water flosser that I've never seen before, and that's interesting. And then you're like, oh, it's
How
actually an ad.
clever is that
Mm.
for brands to utilize
So good.
people with followings of their following, trust them.
Yeah.
They trust them or they like them anyway. They may not necessarily trust them, but
Yeah.
they like them. And therefore, they are more inclined to use that product or buy that brand that the person who they follow is showing to the public. They're going to go, oh, I'll watch this for a second because it's actually interesting. Whereas a lot of other forms of advertisement aren't, because you're watching an ad, and in those ads, usually you don't know the people who are the actors in the ad.
No. UGC creators is what I was going to bring up.
What's that?
User-generated content. It's basically what you're saying is that, you know, these people, these people's followers, they trust them. So a lot of people nowadays, I've seen a few actually who've had a big following before and they've either stopped on their old account or deleted it and made a whole new account just for UGC creating, user-generated content, where they, yeah.
Okay. You're telling me that they will actively stop using their old account.
Yeah, some of them do. So that they can.
So they got no following anymore.
Yeah, they start from nothing.
So what do you mean? So who are they saying?
Well, sometimes they start from nothing and then
who are they showing the videos to?
On TikTok.
Yeah, but if they've
Yeah, they
made
start-
a new account, they
but
got no following anymore.
All of that following, they either announce it before they leave their last one and say, I'm moving to this account. So they've all come across, or they just completely delete all their videos and start again for these brands. Yeah. It's like, it's basically.
You'd need a pretty large audience to make that work.
No. Some people only have like 200 or 300 followers, and they are because the brands themselves are using the content and then posting it. So then that UGC creator is then getting followers because of that brand, because that brand's posted their stuff.
Okay.
It's a bit wild.
That's weird.
It's a very in-depth thing and you have to do a lot of research on it.
And see, the thing is, that's a part of, as you know, that's a part of social media which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
I understand businesses employing influencers to do their advertisements. I think that's smart. It's clever, right? Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I think it's smart. And you'd be a fool if you were a business not to utilize that, because obviously it works. And they don't often pay them money. They're often giving them goods and services rather than money.
A lot of these UGC creators, though, are doing it for money. So that's how they're making their job.
I think you have to be a pretty well-known person to be able to do that. Not just Joe Blow can't just do that. But I absolutely hate that. Look, small business or business and private enterprise exempt. I don't like the idea of social media being used as a money maker.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. My moral compass, maybe I'm a bit self-righteous. Honestly, though, I hate it. I've been approached by I don't know how many businesses to do advertisements for them.
Yeah.
And I always say no, because I do not want to be making money out of my followers, using my followers as a bargaining chip to say to that business, hey, listen, like these UGC creators, hey, listen, I've got X amount of followers. This is my engagement. This is my price. I'm worth this much. You're no longer thinking about people as if they're people. You are thinking about them as if they are a bargaining chip and something to be used to make money out of.
Yeah.
It's no longer really, it's more about who has two thumbs and cares about themselves? This guy. That's what they're thinking. They're going, me, 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 me. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's a way that they can make money. Anyway, it's just like, you know,
we disagree.
We do disagree, and I'm not causing an argument.
No, come at me. Come at me. No, because Lily hates it that I don't make money. Anytime she does. It can go towards the wedding. But anytime I do certain things like events, public things, and I've helped with campaigns, but not businesses like
Yeah.
the National Farmers Federation, which is not a business, it's an organisation. I've helped do videos for them and stuff, which is, showing the world agriculture, but that money has gone towards charity. I've
Yeah,
not
which
pocketed
is
the money.
fine. And I think that's great. And I think it's really good that you're giving money to charity. But also, when you think about it, like musicians get paid to be there to do things. As someone who is providing entertainment in a way, I think it's fine to be getting money, Like it's
Yeah.
different, but it's not at the same time, because you're the entertainment for those in-between bits when you're being an MC. So why should
done
you not
that
get
before
paid
too.
like a musician?
Not for
Not
me.
like a musician,
It's
not
not
that
for
much.
me.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
not for me because
I know, and that's why I don't argue with you
because
anymore.
I think that once you do that, you are changing your relationship with your audience, with your followers, and you lose authenticity.
Mm,
And I will die on that hill. It's just how I am and where I stand.
yeah.
Politics and news. Yeah. So the marketing on the marketing of social media isn't just what we were explaining. It also has found its way into politics and the news. And you'll find these political figures and parties and news outlets really appealing to people through emotion. They've all got a slant. They all find a weak point in the audience and they go for it.
And but they also have a trusted audience that they're providing information to, and those people are just like, oh well, I trust you. I'll listen to what you're saying, or I'll agree with what you're saying.
But due to bias, it's become a marketing thing.
Mm.
Every news service and political party obviously have a bias now.
Mm.
And they use social media, they employ it to get their message across. And through that, they, create people who don't think outside the box anymore. They just completely can trust something without seeking information from other sources. That's really clever marketing. What Trump does, really clever marketing. Love him or loathe him, the way he speaks, he has charisma and he speaks very simply, which obviously gets through to a lot of people in a way which no other politician ever has.
Yeah.
I think. And he employed social media. Twitter, remember that? Twitter?
Yeah.
He was all over Twitter for years.
This is true. And he was like reposting and agreeing with lots of other things that just every normal person was agreeing with.
And it was on the news.
Yeah.
Every day I watch the news a lot. News thing was about, the story was centered around Donald Trump's Twitter post.
Yeah.
Social media.
Clever marketing.
The way you get to the masses. So it's definitely changed the political scene in which, back when politics began, when they actually started televising it, that was insane. Went from radio to television, and now it's progressed again to social media.
There's good and bad marketing as well.
Good and bad.
And bad.
He ain't on America now.
Apparently.
But good and bad.
We're talking about Trump too much.
We're talking about Donald J. Trump.
Oh, God.
Great guy. Everyone says he's a great guy. They say he's so strong, so great, so big, so powerful. They do. I had to push the microphone back because I feel like it's going to blast your ears away. That man. Love him or loathe him. Honestly, I'm not necessarily endorsing him right now, but I'm saying that he's a very effective user. He's a good example of a very effective user of social media in the political landscape. Yeah.
We've also got a lot of bad marketing that happens thanks to social media.
Do you want to explain a recent debacle?
The Sofadofa strawberry mug situation.
Explain to the people who may not know what we're on about.
Sofadofa basically had bought a mug at this market, and the creator of the mug, well, she had said that she didn't really know the price and she couldn't really see it very well. And anyway, she paid for it and she was like, oh my gosh, it was $125. And that was it, really. She didn't say like, oh, that was so expensive. She just said it was $125, and I was a bit shocked and then moved on to her next thing. But the creator of the mug just went crazy. Made a whole massive long TikTok video about this mug and how, oh, well, no, you picked it up and you did this and you did that. Whereas, it's one person's word against the other.
It was massively off-brand.
It kind of really turned you off wanting to buy anything from her. Not Sofa Dofa, but
Shelby's Ceramics or something
Yeah.
or other like that. She, huge following, about 2 million people, bigger than Sofa Dofa. Okay. Everyone follows her because she's wholesome. And by the way, I've got no horse in this race. I don't follow either of them. I only knew Sofa Dofa. I didn't even know Ceramics Shelby existed.
See, they have both been on my
Yeah.
page,
See, I just Sofa Dofa once in a blue moon. So it's interesting how the algorithm works. But the fact that a page which was putting content out there that is wholesome, kind, charitable, etc., then went ahead and put out a dramatic, a real TikTok drama kind of post, which was there to stir up emotion and cause controversy. I think she was trying to get attention.
But it was the bad kind of attention.
She obviously didn't see that.
No.
She thought it was good marketing. She thought she's getting my name. Any press is good press.
Yeah.
She thought, obviously, and it backfired because she will always be known now for that. People always look at her and remember that.
Yeah.
Terrible branding.
Terrible.
Unless you're going for that, but it's not, unless she's had a massive 180 and she's going for a different, strategy now. But yeah, no, that's a good story of bad marketing. There can be terrible marketing on social media, including the Bud Light thing. Bud Light over in America.
Yeah. They
They
just tried to go a different way, and
it did not appeal to their audience. You gotta know your
the people
audience.
that drink Bud Light were not
sympathetic to that strategy.
And it wasn't a bad ad or anything. It was just not. It wasn't marketed towards their audience.
Horses for courses, basically. And if you're a brand, you need to understand your horses and their courses. You know what I mean? You can't be out there trying to, especially in marketing when it comes to a brand, be political. I think that's death.
Yeah.
Unless your brand is a political brand, which Bud Light is not. In fact, it's the opposite. It's meant to be something to distract you from politics.
Yes.
Anyway, that's it. That's our podcast on social media.
Thanks for listening. And
well, next week we're going to be speaking about nursing, I think is the plan.
I think so.
Which Lily, of course, is an expert on, being one.
Correct.
I've had nurses in my family, which we'll touch on. My grandma was a nurse. My auntie is still a nurse. My great aunt was a nurse. So I've had nurses in my family, and so have you.
And it's one of the, without nurses, good luck to people. Like
without healthcare, or without your health, you've got nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. Health is wealth. Health is wealth.
Were you taught that in university?
I wasn't actually.
Their very first lecture when they're doing their nursing degree.
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
Big bold letters.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully the audio was much better this time. We really appreciate you all. If you have any topics or anything interesting you want us to talk about or rant about, then let us know.
All right. Well, be good or be good at it, and we'll see you next week.
Toodaloo.
Bye.